Solve. The square root of 2x minus 2 plus the square root of 7x plus 4 equals the square root of 13x plus 10. We have three radicals here, but one of them is already isolated. So what we'll do is square both sides, which will eliminate the radical on the right-hand side. The square root of 2x minus 2 squared is 2x minus 2. Then we would have plus twice the product of these two radicals, which we can put underneath the same radical. So 2x minus 2 times 7x plus 4. Then we would have the square root of 7x plus 4 squared. So that's going to be, not equal to. That's going to be plus 7x plus 4. And then that's equal to the square root of 13x plus 10 squared is just 13x plus 10. So simplifying the left-hand side, 2x plus 7x is 9x, minus 2 plus 4 is plus 2. Then we have plus 2 times the square root of, let's expand out this binomial times binomial. 2x times 7x is 14x squared. The inner term is negative 14x. The outer term is positive 8x. So negative 14x plus 8x gives us negative 6x. And then negative 2 times 4 is minus 8. And that's all underneath the radical. That's equal to 13x plus 10. Next, what we need to do is isolate this radical. So that means we would subtract 9x from each side, and we would subtract 2 from each side. So what we have is 2 times 14x squared minus 6x minus 8. All of that's underneath the square root. And then 13x minus 9x is 4x. 10 minus the 2 would be 8. Now we divide both sides by 2. And we would have the square root of 14x squared minus 6x minus 8 is equal to, well, the 4 divided by 2 gives us 2x. The 8 divided by 2 gives us 4, so it's 2x plus 4. We have the radical isolated, so now we square both sides. And on the left-hand side, we eliminate the radical. So our result on the left-hand side is 14x squared minus 6x minus 8, and that's equal to the binomial squared. The first term squared, 2x all squared, is 4x squared, plus twice the product of these two terms. So 2x times 4 is 8x. Twice 8x is plus 16x. And then we have plus 4 squared, which is plus 16. It's a quadratic equation. We want to get 0 on one side and all the other terms on the other side. So let's subtract 4x squared from both sides. So 14x squared minus 4x squared is 10x squared. Negative 6x minus 16x is minus 22x. Negative 8 minus 16 is minus 24. And of course, on the right-hand side, we have the result of 0. We can begin to factor by factoring out a common factor of 2. That's 2 times 5x squared minus 11x minus 12 is equal to 0. Now, factoring inside the parentheses, we can factor that as, well, we keep the 2 for the moment, and then in the parentheses, we're going to have 5x plus 4 times x minus 3. Again, the middle term, negative 11x, comes from 5x times negative 3 is negative 15x. 4 times x is positive 4x, so negative 15x plus 4x gives us the negative 11x. Now we use the zero factor property. Of course, 2 can't equal 0, so all we're interested in is these two linear factors, 5x plus 4 equals 0, or x minus 3 equals 0. Solving this equation, we would subtract 4 from each side and divide by 5, giving us the result that x is equal to negative 4/5. On the right-hand equation, we simply add 3 to both sides, which gives us the result x equals 3. So we have two possible solutions, x equals negative 4/5 or x equals 3. We need to check both of them, so let's do that next. So let's start by checking x equals negative 4/5. We substitute that into the equation. We have the square root of 2 times negative 4/5 minus 2 plus the square root of 7 times negative 4/5 plus 4. We want to know, does that equal the square root of 13 times negative 4/5 plus 10? Let's simplify inside this radical. This would be 2 times negative 4/5 is negative 8/5. And then the 2 will change by multiplying numerator and denominator by 5 so that it has the same denominator. So that's minus 10/5. But now let's wait a moment. When we combine these, we're going to have a negative 18/5. And that's the square root of a negative number, which of course does not give us a real solution. We can't take the square root of that to get a real number. And therefore, we're going to stop here because of that. And we know that x equals negative 4/5 is not going to be a solution. But we still need to check our other answer, x equals 3. When we check x equals 3, we would want to know if the two sides are equal, so it's the square root of 2 times 3 minus 2 plus the square root of 7 times 3 plus 4. Does that equal the square root of 13 times 3 plus 10? Simplifying here, 2 times 3 is 6. 6 minus 2 is 4, square root of 4, plus 7 times 3 is 21, plus 4 is 25, so that's plus the square root of 25. We want to know, does that equal the square root of 3 times 13 is 39, plus 10 is 49. Well, the square root of 4 is 2, the square root of 25 is 5, and the square root of 49 is 7. 2 plus 5 does equal 7. That checks, and that tells us that the solution is 3.